Good evening, everyone. This is Mike Feinberg with the Fighting News, coming to you with your weekly boxing update. I know it's been some time. I haven't been doing this weekly. My mistake. I'm working on it. Scheduling isn't so easy sometimes, especially around the time of COVID. Listen, I am going to give you some updates, though, here. Only going to spend a few minutes with you tonight to explain what's going on. So, first off, we're coming off a great win this past weekend for Canelo Alvarez. He fought Billy Joe Saunders, the two-division undefeated champion. As expected, Saunders gave him everything he could possibly handle. Surprised him quite a bit with some of those shots as well. Billy Joe, with that height and reach advantage, was able to jab at will at certain points in the fight, and able to rack up at least 2 or 3 rounds before the fight was stopped before the 8th round, simply because what appeared to be a broken orbital bone under the eye of Billy Joe Saunders. So unfortunately, he came out, he did what he could possibly do. Hey, if that injury hadn't happened, you never know. That thing could have gone the distance. We could have had a few more great rounds between those two guys. I wish Billy Joe Saunders the best of luck in healing up that eye, and I'd love to see him back again in the ring sometime soon. As far as Canelo Alvarez is concerned, hey, he was called out quite a bit by Demetrius Andrade, the WBO middleweight champion. It seems as if Canelo was ducking Andrade for a long time now, many years now. Andrade's just looking for that big payday like everyone else got. Look, he's also a two-division undefeated champion. Billy Joe got the opportunity. Why can't Demetrius get that same opportunity? So I understand that. Demetrius is a class act, a stand-up guy. He does deserve a really big mega fight. It would be great to see him in the ring with a guy like Canelo. If not Canelo, let's get him in the ring with Charlo. Let's get him in the ring with somebody that can actually pay some bills. As far as Canelo's concerned, though, it doesn't seem like he has too much interest in fighting Demetrius. But he is possibly interested in fighting, number one, either Caleb Plant to unify all the belts at super middleweight, or, is what I've been hearing through the grapevine, they may actually still do that trilogy fight with Triple G. That would be great. I mean, Triple G's got a lot more mileage on him. He's got some more years behind him. Canelo had said, if in fact they do have that fight, it would have to be contested at 168. Well, that goes without saying, especially now that Canelo is a 3-belt champion in that weight class. I'm sure Triple G would have no problem packing on the extra few pounds, stepping in the ring with Canelo at that weight division, knowing he's vying for 3 belts, provided that the sanctioning bodies will consider him to be one of the top contenders in their rankings in order for that fight to actually happen. So we hope it does come together. I would love to see that happen. A lot of people have thrown a lot of opinions out about the first 2 fights between those guys. But you know what? We need a third and final fight to solidify what we've all thought what should have been all along. Do that. Make it very cut and dry. Let's see how it goes. Triple G is also deserving of another big mega fight before he sees retirement. So that's enough for Canelo for now. Now, Vasyl Lomachenko. He was everybody's number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and it seems like he's just yesterday's thought. People are forgetting all about him. Well, he's coming back. He's going to be fighting this June 26th. He's fighting Masayoshi Nakatani. Look, he's trying to get himself warmed back up, but he is fighting a guy that's 19-1 that actually he looks pretty good. If you haven't seen any footage on Nakatani, you should check him out. He's been able to do quite a bit. He's actually been in the ring with a couple of decent fighters, and he's proven that he deserves to be somewhat among the elite. Let's see what Vasyl can do in order for him to come back into this. That will be contested at lightweight, last I checked. And we'll see if Vasyl can get himself back into the mix with things as he should be. Prior to that fight happening, though, there are a couple other fight cards coming. Teofimo Lopez, who, of course, fought Vasyl Lomachenko and beat him back in October, is going to be fighting on June 5th in Miami. The venue, for some reason, keeps changing. We don't exactly know where that's going to be just yet. So you have to stay tuned to the Fighting News social media in order to find a little bit more about that fight as it comes to fruition. But that fight is going to be on a Triller fight card, from what I understand. And he's going to be the headliner, of course. But on that same fight card, Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield will be fighting Kevin McBride. So will it come together? Will they pass all their tests? Will it get approved? It remains to be seen. That's why they haven't built the rest of the card out yet. We're getting awfully close to June 5th, so if they can't get it together, it may just have to be pushed off a little bit. But for now, June 5th is the set date. It's supposed to be in Miami. and hopefully more information follows here in the next week or so. The next day after that is the fight everybody's been talking about. Logan Paul fighting the unretired and retired and unretired again, Floyd Mayweather Jr. There's a big melee at the press conference that took place at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami here just a couple of days ago between Jake Paul and Floyd Mayweather. Jake Paul was just kind of pawing at him, smacking him in the leg when Mayweather's up on stage, calling him out, catcalling. Then he ripped his hat off and ran off into the crowd before Mayweather's bouncers allegedly, beat him up pretty good, smacked him around, got the hat back. And then apparently they had banned now Jake Paul from being able to attend his brother's fight against Mayweather on June 6th. But that fight, Logan Paul, Mayweather, I announced that to you guys, broke the news to you guys. Wow, it feels like a lifetime ago. And since then, we've talked about all the extensions and all the extensions and all the extensions. Well, now we got a venue. Now we have a set date. Now we have pressers going on. Guys, it's finally happening, I hope, barring any kind of crazy situation. And you know what? Hurricane season's starting a little early this year, and they're planning on fighting in Miami, so you just never know. But June 6th, on a Sunday, so that they don't compete against any other fight card that might be on June 5th, whether it be UFC or the aforementioned Teofimo Lopez and Evander Holyfield card. June 6th, Sunday, at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Tickets apparently are just now going on sale. They kind of hesitated before they did that. And here's some breaking news for you. The Fighting News may actually be able to sell you some tickets to that fight. So if you are interested, keep tuning in to the Fighting News social media, and we'll let you know, in fact, if we do have some tickets to sell. They're not offering it to a lot of people to do that, but we may be the one media organization here in South Florida that is capable of being able to sell you some tickets to that event. So stick with us and keep watching and tune in. As far as that fight's concerned, my thoughts really haven't changed much. Logan Paul's always got a puncher's chance. He's going to have the height advantage, the reach advantage, the weight advantage. But he certainly doesn't have the skill advantage. We know that goes to Floyd Mayweather, who's been in and around boxing gyms since he could barely walk, with his father and his uncle being professional fighters. Look, that guy has proven himself time and time again that he is one of the elite and one of the best fighters out there. The size difference will factor in, but it won't be enough of a factor for Floyd Mayweather to actually lose this fight. Now, here's a little tip for you. This fight is an exhibition match. Understand that. The rules are set, but they're not completely set in stone, and things could begin to change a little bit more before fight night. I'm sure Mayweather has the ability to probably, change pretty much whatever he wants to before fight night, whether it be the size of the gloves, the color of the gloves, the size of the ring. My guess is they're probably not going to fight in a 22-foot ring. That's my best guess. I'm thinking it's going to be a little closer to 17, 18 inches. Inches. 7, that would be better. 17, 18-inch ring, I'd like to see that. A 17 or 18-foot ring so that Mayweather has that advantage where he can kind of fight him in a phone booth, because I believe the way that Mayweather is going to move on through that fight is he's going to stay in close proximity, and he's not really going to very much back up. He knows that when he does back up, he could potentially get caught by one of Logan's, looping shots coming out with that longer reach. So the only way he'd back up is, of course, if he knows he hit Logan hard, maybe hit him with a body shot. If Logan backed up or cringed himself, that's the only way Mayweather himself would probably back up. So you may not see as much movement from Mayweather as you're typically used to seeing. I guess that's going to be the strategy, I'm sure. I don't know really what they're both going to weigh in at on fight night. That remains to be seen. I don't think they're really going to tell you either until maybe weigh-ins, if they tell you then. Who knows? Again, Mayweather's rules. Logan, not mad at you for trying to take a fight like this. Look, you're trying to get out there and get that money. Jake, you're doing what you got to do to try to make a fight for yourself as well. I get it, guys. You're doing what you got to do. My opinion, you kind of toned down the bravado just a little bit. I'm sure you have some abilities. You don't have the abilities in boxing that Mayweather has. You have to kind of respect your elders, number one, but also respect these true boxers. A lot of people are up in arms about these kinds of exhibition matches simply because they feel it's a disrespect to the sport of boxing. I'm kind of on the fence with that myself just a little bit. I'm hoping Triller does things correctly and they don't do these crazy circus shows that we've come to see, over the last few years. True boxing match between two great fighters, just like we saw Saturday night with Canelo and Billy Joe. That's the kind of fights people really want to see. The true boxing fans, what they want to see. That having been said, I'm sure that fight's still going to be a great event there on June 6th. I intend on planning on going down there to the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami and watching the fight live myself. I'm sure I'll be reporting several times before the event, maybe even at the venue itself. I'll try to get an interview or two for you guys. But, this is pretty much a boxing week in review here for you now. A lot of other things have taken place since I last checked in. A lot more things are on their way with the inclusion of, by the way, that huge super lightweight unification bout that's going to happen. Don't forget that one's coming up, and it's coming up really soon between Josh Taylor and Ramírez. Do not miss that one. If you want to see fireworks and see two very, very skilled fighters in the ring with one another, where anything can happen, that's what you want to see. José Ramírez, Josh Taylor, that one's coming up real soon. Don't have the date in front of me, guys, but check that out. That's got to be just within the next few weeks. So that's it for tonight. On behalf of the Fighting News, guys, have a great night. Hope you all had a great Mother's Day yesterday. We'll talk to you again very, very soon. We're doing a live show broadcast tonight as well. We've got a few guests for you. So tune in, watch TF Insanity, and check out the rest of our social media events and everything else going on here in the next couple of weeks leading up to some of these big fights. Once again, this is Mike Feinberg. Have a great night, everyone. Stay safe.